Just throw that in the glove box.
This car is not from the motor pool.
No, it's not. Sexy though, isn't it?
So where's the office back at Division?
You're in the office, baby. Going out. Today's a training day, Officer Hoyt. Show you around, give you a taste of the business, you know?
Okay, Ben and Brendan in Q line 4.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Ben and Brendan in Q line 4 today.
Okay, right about that.
What the fuck is this? Hey, try a couple Splendors next time, huh? Hey! People are watching. How do you think this makes me look?
Sorry, sir.
The fuck? The fucking shit.
Hey guys. Hey everybody. Welcome to Training Day with Tom Bardis, episode 2. Happy that we got a couple guests here. We're just gonna jump right into this today. 2 guys. I'm actually big fans of their teams in the league, which I can't say that about many. And yeah, so we'll just go ahead and bring them right on. It's Ben Street, former 2-time champion in the league, and Brendan Smith, who we have here on the line. Guys, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Great. Smitty, your volume is loud. So just kind of want to, happy to bring you guys on the show, by the way. I'm actually really honored. You guys are 2 of the best contenders that we've had by far. You guys always do bring it to the table. We had, you guys weren't even on the show last week, but I felt like you were based off of how much we talked about you guys. How you guys feeling this year going in? We'll start with you, Streeter. How you feeling this year after the draft there?
I'm feeling pretty good about my team. Obviously I don't think you can ever win the league in the draft, but you certainly can lose it, as has happened a few times. And, it's a long season. Trades and waiver wire acquisitions are huge, but after my draft, I'm pretty happy with a few of the pieces I was able to put together, and I'm looking forward to seeing how everyone shows up week 1.
Yeah, I'm with you. How about you, Smitty?
I actually disagree with Streeter. I feel like I have won it in the draft. So I feel like I did a great job. Obviously, with my team, nobody's safe. So there might be some transactions here and there, but I'd like to throw out to the league that Fournette is on the block already, and if anybody wants to bite, I'm ready to hear from everybody.
I think we know that Fournette is on the block. At least half the league has received some bogus trade offer, including Fournette. So just for you other 3 or 4 that haven't received one yet, Fournette is available apparently.
I'd have to.
Yep, like I said.
I'd have to. Well, I think it's an interesting conversation. So this week in fantasy football, first I want to start with Team Smitty. We're going to go ahead and take a look at your current roster that you just drafted on Monday. First of all, I want to know how you feel about it, where you felt like you could be stronger, and where you feel like your team's going to excel. And please don't tell me your whole roster, because it's just not the case.
Well, I like I said, I was happy with my draft. Getting Davey, basically that's the first overall draft pick that you decided to give me. So
yeah,
I was pretty happy with you going Lev, and so I was obviously that's where where I'm real strong is at the running back position. I'm secure with Breeze, but I think if there is an area of improvement, it'd be at my wide receivers. I think stealing Hill real late was was possibly a steal of the draft, but I still think there's improvement there.
I'd have to agree with you. I think Hill is actually a steal. He turned it on mid last season. He was unreal. Drew Brees, David Johnson. I'm not personally. He's unbelievable. That's for sure. We all get it. But do I think he's going to last all season? I don't. I think he runs too hard. Yes, he's a brick house, but I think that house is going to fall down at some point, and I'm just not sure when. And I don't want him on my roster. Yeah, I would trade him out for Tevin Coleman, which is my backup running back. But there's a reason I did not take him. Fournette, that's a good backup. You got Crabtree, Hill, Tyler Eifert. He can be great. He can also, shit the bed. Kareem Hunt, I like him. Not sure yet. I really do like him. I think he's going to show us a lot this year. Your Bills D, which will obviously, that varies. I have a new kicker in D almost every week. And that's when I hit the waiver wire. That's usually when I do. Your bench is pretty good as well. You got Decker, Jamal Charles. Remember when he was your go-to RB? Yeah, I think you have a pretty good squad. I really do. You're going to be.
Thank you. I would like to say, Tom, though, mark my words. I think Kareem Hunt ends top 10 running back in the league.
Wow. Okay.
It here.
We have you live, recorded, and we will go back to that. I promise. Team Street, we're going to go ahead straight to your roster. We're going to check out what you did here on Monday. I thought you also had a relatively strong draft. It's interesting, the guys that have strong drafts and then the guys that consistently don't. And I think we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. But it's funny. It's almost like it's a personality trait. I don't know what it is. I don't know what they don't do. But you have Marcus Mariota, Gordon, Hyde, Devontae Adams, which I think, I'm not sure I would have picked him up. Brandon Marshall, not sure I like his new offense. Martellus Bennett, I think he's going to be great with Green Bay. Ezekiel Elliott, we will definitely get into that topic. He's on your flex right now because he, at the moment, is playing week 1. Panthers D, and who cares about your kicker? Obviously, you have Parker on the bench. You got Chris Hogan. Those are 2 good pickups. And Parker, I would imagine you would be playing him if we weren't, if we were having that NFL game this weekend. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. There's a couple quarterbacks I was looking at before Mariota that went a pick or 2 before it was my turn, so I had to wait a little bit longer on that. And, I waited a decent amount of time on tight end, so I tried to grab 2 guys I thought might have big years that I could get late.
Smitty, are you on a Ferris wheel? Because it sounds like you.
It might sound like that. I am by the water. I have a beautiful view, but
okay.
It's the only place I got service.
Okay, just checking. I wanted you to be candid. I wanted to make sure Sam wasn't right next to you.
Trade back in the first round. I liked the guys that were available late, and then I thought I might be able to get an impact guy in the second round as well, and I was certainly able to do that by grabbing Zeke.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was very surprised you took him so early. Then with the news that his suspension is upheld, I'm not worried about your roster, but I kind of am. And I have some trades that I might throw your way just to help you based off the fact that our organizations are so friendly. But I am a little worried early on for you. But, I think like we discussed, I think Zeke, well, we'll get a little bit more into Zeke later, actually. I want to talk about the rest of your roster. Ray, can you pull up the rest of his roster? Yeah, so Carlos Hyde, I think, could have a great season. Melvin Gordon, to me, I didn't really see anything out of him last season that I wanted, although he's a Wisco guy, which I love. And then, like I said, I think your best player at the moment is Martellus Bennett. I think he's going to bring the heat this season. I don't know why. But
well, I hope so. I'm hoping for 10 touchdowns out of him this year. As a fantasy owner and a Packer fan, I hope that he has a big season.
Yeah, me too, actually. I am cheering for him. I really do hope he does well. Let's go right into my roster. Now, the reason I want to talk about my roster is not only is it a roster in our league and it's a relevant topic, but it's kind of the roster, and I think you guys would both agree that my points just for week 1 are substantial. I think right now I'm projected to win about 15 points over Patty Johnson. And let me just run through it really quick. Kirk Cousins, total sleeper quarterback. Okay, I mean, I wouldn't call him a sleeper. He's known, but I think he's going to have a huge season. And that's why I paired him with Terrell Pryor and Jordan Reed. I know Jordan Reed's made out of glass, and I'll probably only get him for about 4 games, but I love how he plays, and I love that I got 2 big men, and I understand that we got Crowder, the slant route guy, and he's a great player on the Redskins, but I think Reed and Pryor are the guys that are going to get most of the action. I got T.Y. Hilton. I love his game. I'm not really excited that, that Luck may be having some early issues, but they did pick up a QB from the Pats, which could take the place possibly as backup for the beginning. I got Tevin Coleman, total handcuff for Devonta Freeman, which we all know Team Schnell has, and I can't wait to handcuff him. I actually live in Atlanta, and I'm probably going to go over to his house and slit his Achilles because I think once I do that, the season's mine. And Larry Fitzgerald, I think he's a top 10 wide receiver without a doubt. I think he's around 8 if I were to be if I were speaking candid. But yes, that's my roster. Don't care about my D nor my kicker. Those guys will bring whatever they bring. Hard to predict, but I love the core of my roster. My bench, I got Adam Thielen, which I think midseason I might be starting him week to week because he is a total sleeper, had an unbelievable season last year. His projections, 154 points on the season. I don't think that's anywhere close. I think he's going to have 200. I think it's going to get there. I really do. Outside of that, I picked up Taylor Gabriel, which had an unbelievable second half of the season with the Falcons. And then Sanu. If Jones goes out, Julio Jones, Sanu, and Gabriel, those are your boys. And then obviously, like I said, Freeman's going out and Coleman's going to kill it. So Dak Prescott as a backup QB, could be a starting QB. And then I got Eddie Lacy. Don't know how I feel about him, but I like that he's on my bench. I think he brings good morale to my bench, and I think the guys that aren't going to play are going to love having him there. So that's how I feel about my team. I'm sure you guys probably feel the same.
Well, Tom, let me jump in here. Are you worried at all about having 3 players as your starters on a stinky skins team?
I'm sorry. Did you call them the stinky skins?
Yeah.
Not sure what you mean. I think the Skins are going to make playoffs without a doubt this year.
Wow. That's a bold statement.
Mark my words.
Bold statement, Cotton.
Yeah. Well, that'll actually bring us into some bold statements, which is our side bets. We have some league side bets that gone on the last couple of days, and I'd like to go over those. Ben Street and myself have a pretty large side bet going on. I believe my team is undefeatable, but I will say I'm human, and so is my team. We got a bunch of humans. Well, I'd call them more animals, but I think that 2 losses max this season, which I know would be a record in the league ever. And the bet is if I lose more than 2 games, I pay Team Street $175. If I win 14 games, Streeter owes me $1,000. So it's live. That is a real bet, and it's a good one. And I'm here. I'm willing to take bets. You guys send me bets because I'm ready to side bet.
Can I get action on that?
Yeah.
I can confirm that is a live bet. Tom was so confident in his team. He said that he would go undefeated. I said $1,000 says you don't. Then he backed down really quickly. Okay, 2 losses. That would be a historic season. He's got to win 11 games in the regular season, and then run the table in the playoffs. I just don't see it happening with this roster. I was pretty quick to be okay with that side bet. And yeah, Brendan, I don't know. I can't speak for Tom. I'm not sure he wants to pay out that much money, but I'm guessing you'd like to jump on my side.
I would for sure jump on your side. I'm not trying to take away from Bardis' group, which I feel is just a mixture of random players that I'm not sure that are. You call them
random. I call it systematic. I mean, it's
okay.
Yeah.
I would love to get on that action. I'd even double it.
You would double the bet. Okay, here. Well, how about this? I'm more interested.
At this point, is looking like the waiver wire is going to look.
My bench would start on your roster. Let's get serious. Okay, let's move on.
The only bench that Bardis is better is Snell. That's it.
Guys, I've spent a lot of time on the bench in my life, and I know when it's a good one. All right? So here's the deal. We're going to go into the next bet, which, Smitty, I'd actually be more interested in you partaking in because I think it's just it's an exciting bet. It's Streeter and I again. We obviously had a conversation last night, and we were excited about throwing some side bets down. So I believe that Terrell Pryor Sr. will have more fantasy points than A.J. Green this year. And I would like to throw the same bet down. I'm willing to offer it, even up your percentage a little bit, just because I know it's going to happen. Thoughts?
I will stick with AJ Green. I think Terrell Pryor is a hell of a player. I was really impressed, actually shocked of how good he is. He's just a true athlete, but I still think AJ.
So
it's just he gets the ball more.
So let me go through AJ Green's stats last season. He was injured for a little bit. He had 964 yards, 66 receptions, and 4 TDs. He runs a 4.5 40, and he is 6'4", okay? 6'4". This guy's a stud, no doubt. We're going through some highlights here, and my goodness, I mean, he's got hands. He definitely has sticky hands, and he can run the slant route. He can run the short pass, and he's definitely good downfield. I don't disagree with that. But, yeah, so Ben, tell me why you would pick A.J. Green.
Well, the one thing you failed to mention there is those 66 receptions, 964 yards, and 4 touchdowns were in 9 games.
Sure.
Right. Before he got hurt with hamstring injury.
Yep.
So I'm looking at that and projecting that out, and that is nearing a 100-catch season. That is, almost 1,400 yards, and he's looking at 7 or 8 touchdowns over a full season if he can stay healthy. And I believe that was one of the caveats of our side bet, was that they each needed to qualify and play, I think it was 10 or 12 games.
10 games. So the best 10 games if they don't all play the entire amount of the season, which probably won't happen. I mean, you guys get hurt every year.
Right.
So let me.
Your points are all valid, but that was a partial season. That wasn't a complete season.
Very true. But let's move on to Terrell Pryor. Okay, he's 6'4", runs a 4.38 40, and last year was his first time in the league and in life as a wide receiver. I can't necessarily verify that's his first time in life. I'm sure he maybe did in high school. Who knows? But he had 77 receptions, 1,007 yards, 4 TDs. And this guy, to me, is a complete stud. I think he's not a sleeper because he was a high draft pick, but I think he's a total sleeper, and I think he's going to make his way up into the top 5 wide receiver list at the end of the season. Top 5. Next year during our draft, he will get picked in the first round. I promise. Mark my words.
How about my Kareem Hunt being higher than your Terrell Pryor in top of their
same bet? 175 for 1,000?
No.
What are you betting me right now?
That Kareem Hunt will end up higher position as a running back than Terrell Pryor will as a wide receiver.
I love that bet, but it's just so far away, and my memory's terrible that I don't think that's going to come through. I want a this season bet. So do you want to jump on board with this bet and say A.J. Green is going to have a better fantasy season?
I said I was already in.
Okay. And Ben.
That one, just to clarify, that one isn't that same money. I think this one was for a jersey.
This one is for a jersey of your choice, NFL legit jersey. You get to pick who you want. They have to send it to you. So I'll probably be getting a Terrell Pryor jersey, and then going to Kirk Cousins because he's going to win me the season. And then so we'll move on. We're going to talk about Hurricane Irma and the effects that it's having on our league this week. Okay, so just alone, Team Porter is losing Ajayi and Evans. And Jameis Winston, Jameis Winston. Who has Jameis Winston? Do we know, guys?
Shane Connolly.
Shane Connolly.
I think he took him in the fourth round.
I'm sorry.
Round.
Shane Connolly has Jameis Winston.
If you like a guy, you got to get him.
Yeah, it's true. He took him in the 4th round. Let's talk about that.
He's taking Hard Knocks to heart.
Yeah, he's definitely watched the show, the Hard Knock show, which is, I think it was second last week, Ray. Is that right, to our show? And So it's having a large effect. Patty Johnson, whom I'm playing this week, I believe has Landry, and now he is on the bench, which, I mean, now, again, my projections are only higher. It's a guaranteed win this week for me, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it live on the show. I'm sorry, Patty. Thank you for trying to give me a game, but the Hurricane didn't help you. Another way that the Hurricane is really helping me and us here in Atlanta is all those South Beach babes are now migrating north to the nearest city, which is now Atlanta. So Atlanta is kind of the new Miami, and a lot of those babes are now coming here to Atlanta, which seems to be having a really positive effect here. How do you guys feel about that?
I think that's a great situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's lucky. You've really found yourself in a great situation there. I think you should be as welcoming as possible. You know, maybe put a few signs outside on your yard. Saying,
well, we are. I'm trying my best to help. I really am.
You always were a philanthropist, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Glad you said it. That wasn't me. That was Street that said that.
So not only are you going to take down Johnson this week, you're also, the Hurricane is helping you in several ways.
Well, who knows? Who knows exactly what it is? All I know is that it's helping out the city of Atlanta, and who knows? I mean, it could be helping us here and myself. And we were a little landlocked here in Atlanta, but now I feel like we're going to be the new Miami, if you will. So moving on, Team Street. I said we go back to Ezekiel Elliott, and I meant it. Ezekiel Elliott, what were you thinking in the second round? What were you thinking?
You know, when we drafted, there was still a lot up in the air about his suspension. You know, and I even thought if this thing gets reduced to 4 games, this is a great spot to have him. And even if it stays at 6, I'm okay with grabbing him here.
But what if you go 0-6? What about that?
Well, you know, if I go 0-6, I'll be shocked for one. You know, I drafted with some depth, with the preparation that I could be without him for 6 weeks. And, you know, I think I'm going to go 1-0 and start the season 1-0 this week against Team Tice. But, you know, Zeke has still got a few ways that he can postpone this suspension and continue to play. You know, the NFL, I believe, has really botched the whole investigation process, and I think he's got a few lawyers working for him that think he's got a real case. So, you know, it sounds like everyone believes that this suspension has been upheld for 6 games, but I'm still not buying that. I think he's gonna continue to appeal, and you know, he might be able to play all throughout the season, and this thing might not get settled until, you know, well after I've been mailed the championship trophy. So,
well, I don't think it's gonna get mailed to anyone because Smitty doesn't have a stamp. So, so here's my prediction on Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's going to get a little frustrated that the league upheld his suspension, and I think he's going to take it on his girlfriend. And I also think he's going to be out for the season. Then it's double time. He's out for the season. That's my prediction.
Well, when I was drafting, Team Smith's organization was very close to Team Street, and they overheard him say when he drafted Ezekiel Elliott, this is the league winner right there when he pressed the button. And I'm not convinced because I think he may play the first 6 or 8 weeks and then he's out for the playoffs, and that will hurt him for the rest of the playoffs, and could be actually what hurts his team in the end.
So thumbs up, thumbs down around the table here on the Ezekiel Elliott second round pick. Smitty?
I would have to say thumbs down too early.
I will also say thumbs down too early. Street?
I'm 2 thumbs up. I'm
2 thumbs up. So it's 2-2. So it's 2-2. It's a wash. We're going to move on. This is a segment that I can't take credit for. Mr. Street came up with it, and it is the 2-touchdown sleeper stud of this coming weekend. Someone that is not Le'Veon Bell or David Johnson or Antonio Brown. Someone like a Chris Hogan, blah, blah. Smitty, who would you pick this week to be a 2-touchdown sleeper stud?
I would love to pick a guy from my squad, but I have this sneaky feeling that Martavis Bryant sneaks in 2 touchdowns.
That is a great pick. And it's good for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of hype going on around about him, which I love. I think the skill's there. He's put on 10 pounds of muscle on the offseason. I don't know if that's good for a wide receiver. I don't know what he needs it for because he was always really fucking fast. So, but I like that. That's very sneaky. He had some hand problems last year, so hopefully he figured that out in the offseason. And Streeter, how about you?
My pick for 2 touchdowns this week is Adrian Peterson.
Wow. Okay.
He is now on the New Orleans Saints. However, he's moving back to Minnesota this week to play against them. It's an indoor stadium. I like the New Orleans Saints offense, but the Vikings defense is stingy against the pass.
So
I think they move it up the field, but they can't get it done in the red zone, and they feed AP and he just pounds.
That's a good pick.
it's a great pick, but here's, on the contrary, maybe a little devil's advocate. How about him, maybe a little omen? He is scared to play there because that's where he ruined his season last year, first game.
I think
he's mentally.
I think he never wanted to leave in the first place, and they weren't willing to re-sign him, and he's out for revenge. That's my call.
That's possibly. We know what he does though when he's out for revenge, and it's not really ever on the football field. My 2 touchdown sleeper stud this year is actually in a game tonight. Our show probably won't be aired till tomorrow, but it is James White of the Pats. I believe Edelman's absence is going to not boost Edelman, Chris Hogan, or any of the other players. I think it is actually going to boost James White the most. I know he had an unbelievable Super Bowl. It's funny how he had such a great Super Bowl, and then we know that the Patriots have so many backs that no one really drafted him so high. But I believe with Edelman's absence, James White is going to be the largest beneficiary of that injury. So I think James White is going to have 1 receiving touchdown. Actually, 2 receiving touchdowns. That's what I'm going to go with. 2 receiving touchdowns from James White tonight.
Wow. Bold statement again.
You heard it here first.
And it's going to air tomorrow, so everyone's going to think that that's not true once I called it. And if it doesn't happen, I'm taking it right out of the show. But, yeah, I love it, boys. Well, I really appreciate having you guys on. Episode 2. Next week we'll have a couple new guests. And, yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks very much for having us, Tom. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, boys.